Hi, this is Mr. Ego, and we're gonna find the inverse function of this function. My notation for the inverse function is f negative 1 of x. That is the notation for the inverse function, so that's what we're looking for. The steps are the following. The first thing that I need to do is I need to rewrite f of x as y. That's the only step, the only thing that I'm doing in this step. The next step is I'm going to change the x and y. What's x turns into y, what's y turns into x. Okay? Now, I need to solve for y. Minus 5 x minus 5 equals negative 1/3 of y. Alright? Now, I have a fraction that is multiplying my variable. Because I have a fraction that is multiplying my variable, the easiest way how to do this is using the reciprocal, which is basically multiplying by negative 3/1 on both sides. And I don't have space. Alright. So the reciprocal is you flip this fraction, okay, and multiply. So negative 1/3 times negative 3/1 is going to give you 1y, which you don't have to write, okay. In the other side, that negative 3 distributes to the x and to the negative 5. So you're going to have negative 3 times x is negative 3x, and negative 3 times negative 5, positive 15. Okay, so that will be your inverse function. The only thing that I need to do is, instead of the y, I need to write my notation, the inverse function notation. So f of negative 1 of x equals negative 3x plus 15, and that's your inverse function. Whenever we're doing functions, we like to find the domain. The domain for this function, because there's nothing dividing my function, or there's no radicals on my function, then my domain, and let me write it down, is gonna be all real numbers, or you can write it as the set of real numbers. Okay, that's your domain. So that's my inverse function, and that's my domain. Let's do one more. Let's do an easy one as well. Oops. Okay, let's move this board up there, and let's do one more. Let's say we're doing inverse function. Let's do negative 2x plus 1. So let's do f of x equals negative 2x minus 1. Okay, first step, instead of the f of x, I write y equals negative 2x minus 1. Then flip the x and the y. What's y turns into x, and what's x turns into y. And now I solve for y. Plus 1 plus 1. X plus 1 equals negative 2y, because those ones cancel out. Last step, divided by negative 2, divided by negative 2. So now I'm going to have x plus 1 over negative 2 equals y. Okay? Couple things here, and let me write that over here on the right side. I have y equals x plus 1 over negative 2. First thing is, we have a negative on the denominator. Technically, I'm done with my inverse. The only thing that I need to do is replace by notation. Notation is, instead of the y, I write f of negative 1 of x equals x plus 1 over negative 2. I don't want that negative on the denominator. Okay? So what I'm going to do is, I erased my negative 2 right there. I want to get rid of that negative. Therefore, it's like multiplying the top and the bottom by negative 1. It's like multiplying here in the bottom by negative 1, and here on the top by negative 1. Alright, negative on the bottom is going to give me a 2. And that negative on the top is going to distribute with the x. Negative 1 times x is negative x. And negative 1 times 1 is negative 1. So basically it's just notation. I don't want to have a negative on the denominator. Okay? It doesn't mean that it's wrong, but you don't want to have a negative on the denominator. Now, my domain. Do I have an x on the denominator that is dividing all my function? No. Therefore, your domain, all real numbers. Okay? So that's how to find an inverse of a function.